And the data has just come in from the Health Ministry, and it's the highest number, as we said, of cases being recorded in the last 24 hours, 57,118. That takes the total number of COVID cases in the country to 16,95,988. The total number of deaths is now 36,511. Well, to talk more about this situation that we're in now and what we're seeing in the country as far as the pandemic is concerned, we're joined by Dr. Romil Tikku, Associate Director, Internal Medicine, Max Healthcare, and Dr. Anant Mohan, Professor and HOD, Pulmonary Medicine, Department of AIIMS. Dr. Tikku, first to you, your reaction to these latest numbers, over 57,000 cases being reported in 24 hours, and in fact, the last 3 days we've seen over 50,000 cases being reported every day.
Well, that's how the disease is. It's going to reach every part of the country at some point of time. Initially, it was Delhi and Bombay. Now it's the southern states, Bihar, Bengal. That's where we have to be aggressive now, even though Maharashtra also has a spike. Bombay is well settled. But let me tell you, we should follow the Delhi model. How have things worked in Delhi? It's aggressive testing. That's what everyone has to do. Look at the other countries. Wherever it was rolled, it's aggressive testing, increased isolation, tracing, tracking. That has led to success. And even in Delhi, what has worked is the home isolation model. Earlier, people were reluctant to get even tested, but once the aggressive testing was started and the rapid antigen tests came into the picture, a lot of diagnosis of such patients were happening. And then the government also realized that there was no point in asymptomatic, mild to moderate. So, and that has really worked. And giving them pulse oximeters and keeping track of their health at home. And what the Delhi government has done is setting up these plasma banks, expanding the track of monitoring the response, and I think increased surveillance. That's what one has to do. I've always said that. Mortality. Look at the mortality.
All right. All right, I'll get in Dr. Mohan here, and Dr. Mohan, so Dr. Tikku talking about the Delhi, model in tackling coronavirus. Also, a lot of experts and doctors have been saying that this is what we're going to see, that different parts of the country are going to be peaking at different times, and perhaps Delhi and Mumbai have crossed that curve or crossed that bump now, and it's the situation steadying here. But now we're hearing about other cases in South India, in Maharashtra as well. Pune is reporting the maximum number of cases. So this is something that is inevitable as we see the number of cases increasing now, over 50,000 being reported for the last 3 days.
Yeah, correct. So that will happen. And although we are talking about Delhi and Mumbai, and there seems to be a flattening of the curve, that is true. At the same time, one should not be complacent. That is the very important thing, because remember, the lockdown has not fully opened as of now in Delhi. So we may see another spike once all the public transport opens, the malls, the shops open, and the schools, colleges open. So we may see a spike. So as of now, things in Delhi at least seem to be under control, although we are getting somewhere close to around 1,000 cases a day. But yes, and this is multimodality, I would say. The reason for control is everything from the administration point of view, from the medical point of view, the thousands of field workers on the ground, the testing policy, the rapid testing policy, the allowance for home isolation, all that, probably the ramping up of the infrastructure, all that has probably made a difference. And lastly, the constant public propaganda and education. The people have to be repeatedly told to maintain a certain level of discipline as far as the lifestyle is concerned. So probably all this together has made a difference, but we have to continue doing it, because still we are not out of the woods. And as you can see, in some places there is even a talk of a second wave coming in. And so that can happen anytime.
Right, and if we talk about the testing, doctor, there was a controversy over Delhi's method of testing, this rapid antigen testing that is being pursued aggressively by the government. It has a high number of false negatives, and that was being seen as an issue. The High Court also spoke about it, whereas in Mumbai they have been going more for the RT-PCR testing, which is the gold standard of testing. So what is your view on this? Because the ICMR has asked other parts of the country to also ramp up their testing. So there seems to be this question over the rapid antigen testing.
Well, no test is perfect. So one has to keep on developing better tests which are faster at the point of care testing. And RT-PCR, out of all the ones which are available, has the highest diagnostic the sensitivity as of now, but even that is not 100% perfect. But yes, the thing that has to be balanced is the ability to do the test and how many tests can be done. RT-PCR is more specialized, needs better infrastructure, lab technicians and all those things. The rapid antigen testing, etc., is more likely to be done at the field. But then obviously it will have its limitations as well. So one will have to kind of strategize and streamline the place where one particular test might be useful. For example, if it is a kind of it is not a very good test for screening the rapid antigen testing, but in symptomatic high-risk individuals, if one wants a rapid test, then probably it can be done. However, if it is negative, it does not rule out a disease, and that will have to be reconfirmed by RT-PCR test. So these are the things. No test is perfect, and we have to ramp up the testing facilities, no doubt, and one will have to balance that with the field logistics as well.
All right, and Dr. Tiku, back there with us. Recently, the Sero survey results were announced for both Delhi and Mumbai. Mumbai, it said 16% of people had been affected. They had antibodies. Delhi had 23%. So on one hand, and most of these people were asymptomatic. So on one hand, it's a very mild illness for so many people. They don't even know they have it. But then on the other hand, we're also reading about how many people are showing long-term impacts of having suffered from coronavirus, young people as well. So, the different sort of information coming to the public, Dr. Tiku?
See, most of the disease is mild and patients do recover without any events happening later. But in high-risk categories, diabetics, elderly, cardiac patients, we have to monitor them even after their discharge for about 2 weeks, because that's when the thrombosis can set into place and we can have deep vein thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, cardiac events, strokes. We've seen that, though it happens to a very limited number of patients, but it does happen. So one has to be very careful as far as the post-COVID care is concerned. But by and large, majority of the patients do recover, and especially the younger ones. But yes, diabetics, elderly, one has to be very careful. But overall, what we've seen is the disease is pretty mild. And all the patients who are at home are recovering anyways. And with the ramping up of the healthcare system and increasing number of beds, we are able to handle it. And now we are wiser with the treatment protocols. There are antiviral drugs. There is a role of steroids. We know all that. And we have plasma, and we set up plasma banks. And everything is being worked upon. And governments are also aggressive. Again, I would like to stress on the fact that we don't have to get complacent. Even in Delhi, one has to keep doing what one is doing, which is maintaining social distance, washing hands, wearing masks. And the other states, as I said earlier, have to follow this model. If you do increase testing, you pick up more cases. The more you isolate, the more you track and trace. And that's the way to go. Apart from the fact that you need to ramp up your healthcare system generally, increase the ICU beds, which was a challenge earlier, but I think now we're managing it. And the mortality has really gone down if you look at the figures compared to the previous month. Yes, the numbers are going up, but that's how the disease is. It is going to spread to each and every part of the country at some point of time. But as long as we are able to manage the mortality, I think we are good, and that's what we have to focus on.
We are now the fifth worst affected country in terms of the numbers of deaths. Dr. Mohan, Dr. Tiku was talking about the changing medication that there has been for coronavirus, and it's been 6 months of a learning experience for you doctors as well. Earlier there were antiviral drugs. There's now there was HCQ being talked about, hydroxychloroquine. Now it's steroids and remdesivir. So for people who've been watching this and wondering what is the correct treatment, and now plasma therapy also is something that is being talked a lot about in India. Is it that, this is something doctors are used to? This is what happens with diseases. You have changing sort of medications. It's just that this time all of us are also involved in this process. We're watching it, we're reading reports, we're, hearing views on social media, etc.
Yeah, so the treatment has evolved over the last 4 or 5 months because it's a new disease, and almost every week we are getting some or the other new reports of a new drug being tested. It may be working, some drugs do not work, so either way we get some reports. As of now, again, if we put in the treatment in a nutshell, 80 to 85% of the cases are asymptomatic or mild, and they do not really need any specific medication as such, except for maybe supportive care and a bit of paracetamol, etc., and they will recover. The rest of them who are more symptomatic, those who require oxygen and beyond, are the ones, out of those also, a majority will improve and go home only after oxygen therapy and some supportive care with oxygen. Beyond that, if somebody does not improve even with oxygen, or the oxygen requirement worsens over a period of time, he will require other modalities, specialized modalities like high flow nasal cannulas and the non-invasive ventilations. That would be the time to start the steroids also as of now. So steroid dexamethasone or methylprednisolone is there, so that is to be given. Beyond that, then, and that also probably would be a time to consider using antivirals like remdesivir, which has been approved for emergency use. Now, when a person goes beyond that, more serious, more critical, the stage where you call as the ARDS or the cytokine storm and many other terminologies are used, then one can try some other biological agents like tocilizumab. But now, just recently, we had a report saying that the tocilizumab also does not really help. So again, these things are changing almost on a daily basis. As of now, supportive care, oxygen therapy, and to some extent the steroids in moderate severe cases will help. Remdesivir, if available in a certain subset, might help after careful consideration. So hydroxychloroquine you're talking about, in the national guidelines, hydroxychloroquine is still there for the mild cases and also for the healthcare workers. Evidence may not be very robust, but it's a safe drug which has been used by thousands of physicians in much higher dose for a much longer period of time without any side effects. So there is some consideration for using that in a very, very mild or in the healthcare workers as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mohan and Dr. Tikku, for taking your time out and speaking to us here at NDT.